Alright guys, in this video we're going to cover, I believe this is 4.6. I think this is section 6, part 2. Alright, so again, we're going to work with complex conjugates. We're going to work backwards to get the original function. So the idea is going to be, if I told you that x equals, let's say 1, 2, and 3 are zeros, I know that it was x minus 1, x minus 2, and x minus 3. Let's call it just f. And we could distribute it back out to get the original function. Okay, but the connection that we need to make now is, let's say we had, x squared equals 5, x equals, when you take the root of something, it's plus or minus square root of 5. So whenever you have a square root or an I, there's a conjugate that goes with it. So what do I mean by that? If you had, let's say, 1 minus root 5, there's also another that's 1 plus root 5. Okay, so if we had, let's say, negative 2 plus root 3, let's say you just given this one, you need to say, well, there's also another one that goes with it, which is negative 2 minus root 3. Okay, and the same is true with i's. Okay, if we give you, let's say, positive 2i, you know that there is a negative 2i that goes with it. Or if it's 1 minus I, we also know that there was a 1 plus I that went with it, okay? So that's the only thing you're going to have to come up with, and then we're going to do the same thing we did in the last video, where we multiply these things together. And again, we're going to use the shortcut, and hopefully that will help, and that will be it. All right, so write a polynomial, leading coefficient of 1, and the zeros are 2. So there's a missing 0. So when it's a whole number, it's just the 2. So we have 2, we have 3 plus I, but then we're also going to have 3 minus I. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and set this up. So we've got x minus 2, and then x minus 3 plus I, and then x minus 3 minus I. So I'm going to stick with the shortcut. So we're going to focus on these. So let's get x minus 3 minus I and x minus 3 plus I. So we're going to group these together. So this one and this one, and then the I and the I. Okay, so this is really a difference of 2 squares. Okay, so when we have, again, when you have x minus 1, x plus 1, you can cheat. Instead of doing x squared plus 1 minus 1 like that, we can just say that it's the first one squared, and then it's the second one squared with the minus between. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to do the first one squared minus the second one squared. Okay, so we're going to FOIL this one. So we get x squared minus 6x plus 9 minus I squared. Remember, I squared is negative 1. So now we're going to get x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus 1, which is x squared minus 6x plus 10. And then I'm going to bring back in the x minus 2. Alright, so when we do that, we have to FOIL. So you're going to get x cubed minus 6x squared plus 10x, then minus 2x squared plus 12x minus 20. So we have x cubed minus 8x squared plus 22x, and then minus 20. Alright, so here we have negative 1. Oops, so we have negative 1, and then we have 4i, so it needs its match, right? So we have negative 1, 4i, and then negative 4i. So we've got x minus a negative 1, x minus 4i, and then we've got x minus a negative 4i. So all the double negatives go to positive. So we have x plus 1, x minus 4i, and then x plus or I. It's always easier to multiply the conjugates first. So we have x squared, it's a difference of squares, minus 16i squared. If you FOIL this, the 4i and the 4i cancel. So I get x squared minus 16i squared, so we get x squared minus 16. Remember, I squared is negative 1. So you have x squared plus 16, and then I'm going to multiply it by the x plus 1. So we get x cubed plus 16x plus x squared plus 16. So we have x cubed plus x squared plus 16x plus 16. All right, this one, we've got the 3, and then we've got 1 plus I root 5 and 1 minus I root 5. All right, so we've got x minus 3, and then we've got x minus 1 plus I root 5, and then we have x minus 1 minus I root 5. All right, got a lot going on here, so I'm going to distribute the negative. So we have x minus 1 minus I root 5, x minus 1 plus I root 5. All right, now I'm going to kind of group them together, right? So we've got this, and then we've got this one. So I'm going to do the first one squared. So you get x minus 1 squared minus, and then I root 5 squared. All right, bear with me here. So this we FOIL, so do that off to the side if you need to. You're going to get x squared, and you're going to get minus 1x is minus 2x plus 1. If you need to do that by yourself, go ahead and do it. X minus 1, x minus 1. You get x squared minus 1x plus 1 to get the negative 2x. All right, so then let me do this up here. I root 5 squared, we're going to get I squared. Root 5 squared, these cancel, we just get 5. Okay, so it's this minus 5I squared. I squared is negative 1, so we get x squared minus 2x plus 1 minus 5 times negative 1. So we get x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus 5. I end up with x squared minus 2x plus 6, and then we're going to multiply that by x minus 3. So we get x cubed minus 2x squared plus 6x. I'm just FOILing. This times this, that, that. And then we've got minus 3x squared plus 6x minus 18. So I've got x cubed. I get minus 5x squared plus 12x minus 18. All right, last one. So this one, we have two sets of pairs here, right? Because it's a root. So if it's a root or an I, you've got to get the other one that goes with it. So it's going to be root 2 minus root 2, 1 minus 3i, and 1 plus 3i. All right, so we've got x minus root 2, x plus root 2. So I would almost do this as two separate problems because you're going to want to do the two pairs together. It makes it much, much easier. And then we've got x minus 1 minus 3i, and then x minus 1 plus 3i, like that. All right, let me do the root ones first. This one's easy. It's just a nice difference of squares. So you're going to get x squared minus 2. So let's table that. That's both of those. This one I got to distribute, so we get x minus 1 plus 3i, and then x minus 1 minus 3i. So this becomes my first term, like that, and then this becomes my second term. Okay, so it's going to be x minus 1 squared minus 3i squared. Again, FOIL this off to the side if you need to. X minus 1, x minus 1. You get x squared minus 1x plus 1. So we get x squared minus 2x plus 1, and then 3i squared is 3i times 3i, which is 9i squared. I squared is negative 1, so you get negative 9. So minus a negative 9. So you get x squared minus 2x. This is plus. So plus 10, and then we're going to multiply it by x squared minus 2. So I'm just going to FOIL. So we've got x to the 4th minus 2x cubed plus 10x squared. Then minus 2x squared plus 4x minus 20. So I've got x to the 4th minus 2x cubed plus 8x squared plus 4x minus 20. Okay. All right, you guys, that's it for this video. Please, again, let me know if you have any questions. Please do not hesitate to come see me. Thank you.